wasn't alcoholic.
He was a heavy drinker, yes.
He was good when he was a child, and I was a single mom, divorced, and it was hard, you know, being by myself raising him, but we did the best we could.
Had a good childhood, didn't listen much, got in trouble a lot. I was too busy wanting to run around. No, I didn't do too good in school, but I graduated.
Kids he's running around with and different things, I'd rather for him let me know he's doing it instead of running off and not knowing it. And I wouldn't let him drive the car or nothing when he was younger. Well, when he's a little bit older, as a teenager and all that, he wasn't alcoholic. He just started drinking some. But I thought, well, you know, he's gonna get it somewhere.
I met him in, it would be October of '94. And at that time, he was a heavy drinker, yes. I didn't know it when I first met him, but I found out shortly thereafter.
It would just depend on the day. Some days he'd be fine, he would just sit around and do pretty much nothing. Other days he'd go out to the shop and try to work on his car while drinking.
Like when TJ was younger, how he would act, some of the things that he said about like not wanting to come home from your Ballmall's house made me think that your dad was mean to him. Because there was a time where like your dad worked with my dad, with your pawpaw, and so they would go out looking at roofs. They would get home and get, before I got off work, so when they would get home, he would get TJ from your Ballmall, and they would come down here for the afternoon and wait for me to get off work. But TJ a lot of times would tell Ballmall he didn't want to come home. He didn't want to go down here with Daddy.
I think it's just because he didn't really realize what he was doing, because he was so, like most of the time he was so intoxicated, he didn't really know whether he was, or who he was talking to really.
I think the alcohol leveled out the drug use, if that makes sense. Like he would get so wound up on the meth or whatever he was doing, and then he would drink a lot to kind of, because that I guess gives you this ultimate, you know, all this energy and all this, you know, stay up for days. But the alcohol would, I guess, bring him down enough to where I didn't know for years. I found out by accident that he was actually doing meth. He drank a lot, but I just thought it was his temper. I didn't associate it with any kind of drug use or anything, but when I found out he was doing drugs, then looking back, it all started making sense. All the outbursts, all the violence.
I mean, by the time him and Mom got a divorce, I was like 13, so you were about 6, or well, right around 6 or 7.
I got 5 kids and 8 grandkids. Alcohol played a big part in that, being mean.
It wasn't a good relationship. It wasn't what I wanted for you and TJ. It wasn't a good example of what a married couple is supposed to be like. And I knew that you and TJ would be better off if it was just me. I didn't want to cut him out of your lives because he's still your dad, but, you know, we didn't need to be together. We're better as friends. And we do, I think, for the most part. We argue, but we still get along okay. And we get along okay for your sake.
It didn't really affect me all that much whenever they did get a divorce, just because I was just ready to be away from it, because it was such a daily, constant issue every single time that he was around, that it was just more worthwhile to me to have him like be away during the week and me see him occasionally rather than every day, because being around him occasionally, I didn't have to put up with all the extra baggage that he had with him. So I didn't have to put up with his rants or his being off about X, Y, or Z just because I was around. So it was a lot easier that way. And that's why we get along a lot better now, is because I'm not constantly around him.
Remember hitting that truck head on a motorcycle, put me in the wheelchair for 3 years, drinking. Still suffer from that. I've totaled out cars. I've heard other people in cars drunk.
We had tile all in our house. So pretty much we had carpet all in our house at first, and on a whim when he was on drugs one day, he decided to tear out all of our carpet and just replace it all with stick down tiles for some reason. And that sounds fine if it wasn't like the middle of the afternoon and we did this like as like an all day project, just on a whim, just because he was on drugs and he wanted something to do.
You know, it wasn't, you know, yeah, there was a lot of bad, but that's not to say there wasn't good. I mean, there was a lot of good times, like him getting you guys those little four-wheelers that you were actually too afraid to ride yours, and riding y'all around the yard, and, you know, there were good times.
%. I mean, got money, got my own house paid for, my truck's paid for, everything I own's paid for, due to not drinking.
Started to change pretty substantially. He doesn't drink, as far as I'm aware, anymore. And that's mostly due to health issues. He doesn't do any drugs, but that finished years ago. Yeah, I would say he's done a lot better for himself, which is good to hear, because he was in a really bad place back when we were younger, and that he needed a lot of help that he probably he just wouldn't get. So
I think he's changed, but I like to hope that he's not doing drugs anymore. I know that he did quit, well, supposedly quit drinking for a while. I don't know if that's still the case, but I think a lot of it had to do with his health problems. I think he kind of realized he had an eye opener and had a heart attack and a stroke, and it's doctors telling him, you know, if you don't change your ways, you're not going to make it to see your kids grow up or whatever.
Oh yeah. Like I said, he wants more out of life now instead of alcohol. We can go out and enjoy ourselves, go out and eat and enjoy ourselves, talk, all that. Well, used to we couldn't even talk without getting into it.